did I become a rare book dealer? I get this question all the time when people hear that I have my own antiquarian bookshop, and I get it. It seems like a very odd little profession. And in fact, there are only about 500 members in my nation's biggest trade organization, the ABAA. So you might not be surprised to hear that I got into the rare book trade entirely by accident. I was hired by an existing rare book firm. That firm was Bowman Rare Books. They had by that time been in business nearly 40 years, and I was trained on the job in an old school apprenticeship model because that's really the only way to learn what I do. There are things like a Mastery of Library Science with a specialization in rare books, but that's not the same as being a bookseller. There's book knowledge about rare books, and then there is the sensory knowledge about rare books. This is the first edition of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and it's a perfect example of the book knowledge that you can learn by studying versus the experiential knowledge that only comes by doing. So I know this is a first edition because there are bibliographies that I can reference and say it has the triple fly leaves, the peach in papers, all of those bibliographic points that I'm looking for. This copy is $10,000. What makes it different from a $20,000 copy, a $60,000 copy, a $5,000 copy? That is not book knowledge. That is experience-based knowledge. For example, this has repairs at the head of the spine here. The hinges as well have been repaired. This is very hard to see unless you know what to look out for, and unless you know that a book like this tends to have very weak hinges and often has hinge repairs. How often? Well, that's what makes a difference between, say, a $10,000 copy and a $20,000 copy. You only learn this by seeing a lot of copies, a lot of first editions. And these books are truly rare, so that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of opportunities. And this is what I mean by saying you only learn by doing. That means too, if you're interested in rare books, say you want to become a book collector, then don't let the lack of knowledge stop you. Don't say, oh, I don't know anything about this, so I guess I can't get involved. No, because you only learn by doing, there's only one way to get that knowledge. So what are you waiting for?